other people. Larry and Barb are not on there.
Scott Prince. Okay, here we go. So
Jason and Scott Prince. Larry's on.
There's Larry.
Erin, we are live and recording.
I love it. Then it is 7 o'clock and I call this meeting to order. This is Monday, February 22nd, 2021, and this is a regular meeting of the Chagrin Falls Village Council. Tonight we'll start with the Boy Scouts. We're going to load the video here in one moment, and the Boy Scouts will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hello, I am Charlie Simperman, Senior Patrol Leader of Troop 150, affiliated with the Federated Church. Today we'll be saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance. Hand over heart if not in uniform. Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2.
Many thanks to the troop for putting that video together for us. Roll call, please.
Bernardo.
Here.
Evans.
here.
Krug.
Here.
Newell.
Here.
Rocky.
Here.
Rogoff.
Here.
Wyval.
Here.
Approval of the minutes from February 8th. Do we have any changes? Issues? Okay, seeing none, I would move to approve the minutes from February 8th, 2021.
So moved.
Motion by group, second by Wyville. Roll call, please.
Bernardo.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Krug.
Aye.
Newell.
Aye.
Rocky.
Aye.
Rogoff.
Aye.
Wyval.
Aye.
Okay, then report of the mayor.
Thank you. Tonight, my report tonight, I'll defer to Heather Elmer. As you all are painfully aware, we've had many instances of flooding and stormwater damage and related. So I've asked the CT consultants and I asked the watershed partners to take a look at this. Heather Elmer tonight is going to submit a report on what they have found generally, why there's a problem and why we believe we should do something about it. And this will be the starting point for council to consider what, if anything, they want to do to address this increasing problem. So with that, I'll yield to Heather. Go ahead, Heather.
Great. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, looks good.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Council President Grube, members of council, and Mayor Tomko for the opportunity to discuss storm sewer capacity issues in the village of Chagrin Falls and potential solutions to address these challenges. I'm here tonight on behalf of my colleague, Keely Davidson Bennett, who has been working with the village to begin evaluating this challenge and potential solutions. And in case some of you are not familiar, Chagrin River Watershed Partners is a nonprofit organization that works with member communities, including the village of Chagrin Falls, and partners across our region to address flooding, erosion, and water quality challenges, and to sustain healthy watersheds in Lake Erie. As you may know, increasing impervious coverage can lead to more stormwater runoff, which can overwhelm storm sewers and cause flooding and property damage. On this slide are some photos of the challenges the village is currently facing. On the right, we see flooding on Franklin Street. On the left, more flooding on South Street. In the top left is a photo of a storm sewer. Although this is not in Chagrin Falls, it's likely very similar to the village's storm sewers given their age. Some storm sewers in the village are over 100 years old. Some storm sewers are at capacity, and in some cases, landowners want to add runoff to these sewers. But when storm sewers exceed their capacity, the result is flooding and infrastructure damage. Furthermore, extreme precipitation events have increased over time in the greater Cleveland area. As shown in the bar chart on the left of this slide, there was a 22% increase in the amount of rain falling in the heaviest rain events for the period of 1981 to 2010 compared to the period 1951 to 1980. And also, as shown in the graph on the right, we'll see that the Cleveland area has also seen a 16% increase in the number of days with the heaviest rain events. And we now have approximately 3.6 heavy precipitation days per year, which is 1.5 more days on average than we had in the past. These are the events that are most likely to result in flooding and infrastructure damage. And we're seeing an increase in these large storms. We expect to continue seeing that increase, and the village will need to plan for that into the future. What we prefer to avoid is replacing storm sewers, which is very costly, upwards of $1 million per mile. It's also disruptive to replace sewers requiring road closures, which can disrupt businesses and travel through the community. CRWP and CT consultants are currently working with the village to determine what steps the village can take to avoid having to replace storm sewers. And now I'm going to turn it over to village engineer Tim Lannon with CT Consultants, who will review the village's current stormwater regulations.
Sure, thanks, Heather. The modern stormwater ordinances are based on the EPA model, which is basically sets kind of a threshold at 1 acre of land. And we purposely modified that in the village for commercial industrial sites to make it a quarter acre or more of land. So any redevelopment or development, any commercial site is probably going to be more than a quarter acre. And then we have this catch-all that kind of bothers me a little bit, but it's nice to have some flexibility that the village engineer may require a stormwater plan on any site development, regardless of disturbed area. And I've used that several times on lots smaller than an acre, which, most of the historic neighborhood where we've had, pretty big additions. I mean, constantly, if you drive around, there's always something going on. And if nothing else, they're going to put in, new gutters and storm drains that actually work, where, a site may have had 100 years to develop and water just finds a way off the site and away from a neighbor or something, that any amount of work in a very small confine of a small lot is either going to cause problems on neighboring properties, or just as bad for me is the neighbors around a new development pointing at a new roof saying, why did you let this happen? I never had flooding before, and now I do have flooding. So I always tell site engineers to go over and above the code so that I can tell the neighbors, afterwards that this site went over and above the call of duty, and they, did X, Y, and Z to mitigate the runoff on the site. And I'm really happy when I can say that. And I feel like I'm twisting their arm, but it turns out I have an ordinance that says I can do that. I think it just could use a little more structure in setting thresholds and things like that, so people don't, I'm not accused of picking on individuals and that kind of thing. So that was one of the triggers that, got us into this effort to make a bit of an upgrade or an improvement to the ordinances. That's all I had, Heather. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Tim. We wanted to just begin by introducing some of the options that the village could consider. One way the village could potentially address stormwater and flooding challenges, as Tim was alluding to here, is by evaluating and potentially adjusting the existing ordinances, which could include evaluating the threshold of disturbance at which stormwater management is required, or by evaluating the maximum rate of discharge to storm sewers that's allowed. In the bottom of this slide on the left, we have a photo of a rain garden that a property owner is using to treat runoff from the roof of their gazebo. And here we have an outfall pipe that directs the roof runoff from that gazebo to the rain garden. And on the right is another example of a residential scale stormwater control, a patio made of permeable pavers that will infiltrate stormwater runoff. Another approach that can be used is rain gardens. Rain gardens help manage stormwater at the residential scale. They're depressed gardens that are designed to locate and receive runoff from a roof, driveway, or lawn. They work along with nature to collect and filter and infiltrate that runoff using plants. In partnership with Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District and several others, we currently lead a master rain gardener program here at CRWP, and this program trains and certifies homeowners, and professional landscapers to properly plan, design, install, and maintain these rain gardens. Some areas of the village are not well suited to rain gardens because of steep slopes and small lots, and I'll talk about that a little more in a minute. In these areas, stormwater can be stored in underground holding tanks and slowly released to the storm sewer or infiltrated into the ground. Permeable pavement underlain with a modular system with voids to store the stormwater is another potential option. Another potential stormwater solution is street-side bioswales. And here on this slide are some examples of these from Chagrin Falls and Orange Village. Chagrin Falls used bioswales integrated with rain gardens along with overflows to catch basins and the storm sewer to address ditch and yard flooding in the public right-of-way in the Greenbrier development. The engineer estimated at this site that traditional gray infrastructure with curbs, gutters, storm sewers, and catch basins would have cost $625,000. But the green infrastructure approach that the village used actually cost 2/3 less than this at a total of $255,000. This approach may also be lower cost to maintain as there's a reduced need for catch basin cleaning. Another advantage is improved aesthetics and curb appeal, which can help support property values. And so far, in speaking with Craig Horse, who was involved in developing this project with the village, he indicated that it really has effectively addressed stormwater and some of the localized flooding in this neighborhood. Residents commented to him that they're no longer experiencing flooding, even in some rather heavy storms, such as one recent storm that was 2 inches of rainfall over 2 hours. And I did want to point out that although Ohio does not have many landslides, Chagrin Falls is one of the few places in the state that has a documented landslide on the U.S. Geological Survey's landslide inventory. And this is a consideration that would need to be addressed when looking at potential stormwater solutions for the village. Related to that issue, there are many areas in the village with steep slopes. The areas in red on this map, which is from the Cuyahoga County Green Print, are all steep slopes. As you can see, there are several areas with steep slopes in the village. The center of the village is roughly here where the CH in Chagrin Falls is. And just to orient you a little bit more, this thick brown line on the right is the Cuyahoga County line. These yellow areas down at the bottom are River Run Park and the wastewater treatment plant. And then we also have the high school complex here. Some other considerations for the village in determining appropriate stormwater solutions include lot size. Some lots are relatively small at 6,000 square feet, as Tim was talking about there. There's also areas with shallow bedrock and high water tables, and both of these factors can influence what type of stormwater control measures are most appropriate to use. So this concludes my presentation. I wanted to thank Council President Grube, members of Council, and Mayor Tomko for the opportunity to provide a brief overview of some of these challenges and potential solutions that the village could consider. I understand that the goal of this evening was to introduce this to Council and for your consideration in terms of the approach the village may want to take. Really appreciate the chance to speak with you this morning. I want to thank you again.
Do we have any questions? Thank you, Heather. That was, I appreciate all the detail you guys went into on that. Do we have any questions for Heather? Friends? Wow, how effective. Good job, Heather.
Well, thank you very much.
Bill,
Thanks for having me.
do you have anything you want to add to? Are you good?
I'm all good.
Nope, you got it.
Okay, then. Thank you, guys. Oh, gravy. Hold on a second. I'm all confused. My view just told me what to do and I didn't agree with it. Okay, there we go. Can see everybody's face. Thank you. I guess we will, I think this is something we need to look at. We have old infrastructure. We need to balance the modern needs with it. And I think we will need to start talking about this a little bit in committee and doing some legwork to see what our next steps would look like. Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah, especially I think we need to address, as Tim's point was, the legislation issue and strengthening our ordinances. And that's probably one of the first things we need to get done so that any future development, we're coming up, we have a stronger plan to deal with it and we don't end up with exacerbating the condition, and then start looking at what we can do to rectify some of these situations.
Right, but I mean, yes, we need the legislation. We need to have consider discussions around making sure we focus that legislation so we don't get overly broad or go in a direction the community would not be supportive of or agree with. So that's why I want to make sure we put this in committee that I hope most people will attend for their input, so that we can put something together that really does have the impact that we need and in a time effective manner. But I don't want to go overboard, and I want to address the issues as well.
Well said, Aaron. I think we have to be careful that we have clear defined terms and that we set guidelines that work for the majority of the properties in the village in a reasonable way.
Sure.
And then start looking at the actual writing them into our zoning codes, building and zoning codes.
Building codes,
Yeah,
not our
building.
zoning.
Okay, it's take a little more research.
Yeah, one other thing you want to think about is you want to be able to have some administrative appeal opportunities. I've seen this happen in other communities where we have these requirements for stormwater controls, and then there's no mechanism for trying to deal with unique situations. So
You know what's
something for
interesting
the
about
committee
that
to think.
is
What's
that
that?
we actually have an appeal process for the building code. It goes to BZA,
We do, but we didn't have it for everything until recently.
right? That's true.
Good point.
Okay, so this will go to streets and sidewalks, and then Jan will set something up probably before the next council meeting, I hope, and then we can begin this work because we need to get into this because I know there's a lot of people who need us to clarify. So
I have
Okay.
nothing else to report tonight.
good times. Let me find my spot on the agenda. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and River Watershed Partners. Report of the Finance Director.
I have no report tonight, Madam President.
Okay. All members of council should have received a copy of their budgets,
Mhm.
right? Okay.
Yes.
The page turner.
It is. There's a lot of exciting things that are happening in the village here.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Markowitz, report of the law director.
Thank you. We have one item, ordinance number 2021-11, an ordinance amending the position classification and salary schedule for various positions within the village of Chagrin Falls and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Wyville.
Yeah, thank you. That one is me. We had a committee meeting just before this council meeting to discuss these three changes that we're would like to talk about tonight. And I'll run through them. Rob is my wingman. Probably more than that. We want to dive a little deeper, but a couple of them, the first two that I'll tackle will be the easiest ones, I would suppose. There's a proposal for police lieutenant pay classification change from grade 29 to 30. So Mayor Tomko and Chief Dasik have requested this change based on just increased responsibilities for that current police lieutenant, Jason. So that one seems pretty straightforward to me. We've had some discussion about it in the committee. And again, it is increased responsibility in the current position, which would just lead to a change in pay grade. And I'll just run through these quickly and then we can have some discussion if you want to have. Does that sound okay to everybody?
Yeah.
Number two, again, pretty straightforward. Honorable Chief Zugan is going to be retiring from his full-time gig in another village, and he'll be taking on more responsibility, probably more hours here, which will change him to above a 30-hour week, which will change him to a full-time equivalent from a part-time equivalent. So there's no salary change really per se in this one, or not per se, but there was really just Chief coming on as in a full-time equivalent status with the village. Pretty straightforward, that one. And the third is a change in pay scale or additional pay and position change, the wording of a position that we currently have. So Harry, as we know, is going to retire as our zoning inspector coming up in the spring of 22. And we are going to hire a building and zoning inspector. to work alongside Harry for a period of, we're hoping, 1 year, until that person can be trained by Harry. And at that time, once that Harry retires, that person will be hired full-time, and that other salary position that Harry occupies obviously will be gone. So we'll go back to one full-time equivalent in that department, and it will be renamed Building and Zoning Inspector. So that's the title change. The bringing on someone to take on that role that Harry's had for an awfully long time, to learn under Harry, a pretty complicated and pretty important position in the village. We feel that we need to have a person training under Harry, or working alongside Harry, I guess I would say, for a period of a year, and then moving into that position full time. So those are the 3 topics. Any discussion or questions?
Any conversation? I mean, I feel like this is a well thought out plan, so I appreciate that from the administration.
I think so too.
Okay. then.
It's approved by all of the council, all of the admin and comp attendees.
Right. Thank you, Jan.
Okay, seeing no discussion, can I please have a motion to suspend the rules? Because this does need to be passed tonight, correct?
Yes, we'd like to.
Okay.
Motion to suspend. Second.
Motion by DiBernardo, second by Evans. Roll call, please.
Evans,
Aye.
Grube.
Aye.
Newell,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval,
Aye.
DiBernardo,
Aye. Motion to adopt. Second.
Motion by DiBernardo, second by Evans. Roll call, please.
Grube.
Aye.
Newell,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval,
Aye.
DiBernardo.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Thank you.
All we have.
Wow.
Very short little legislative docket there. Okay, then, council committee reports, admin and comp.
Nothing to report other than tonight's legislation. And I renamed Chief Zugan to Honorable Chief Zugan. I just want that to be on the record.
Arts Commission.
Arts Commission, I do have something. I will try to keep it brief since we're having the brief meeting. Arts Commission met Wednesday after our last council meeting to consider a proposal that was presented to our village for a pop-up art display in April. It was presented to us by a student group out of Beechwood High School that is trying to bring an art exhibit to the Cleveland regional area that will travel from city to city. And we were one of 6 locations that they selected to approach. It's a project called Hope Blooms, Ohio, that is a replica of an art project that was done in downtown Manhattan. So I would like to, if I can ask Christy to let me share the screen, I'd like to show you their website and tell you what they're doing. And Arts Commission did recommend unanimously that we let the administration, that the village allow this to come, and that we allow the administration to work with them on locating these art exhibits for a 1-week period in April. So I will now show you. Let me get my screen share up. Okay. Can you see that now?
Yep.
Okay, so this is their website. It's called Hope Blooms, Ohio. And as you can see from their description, they are working on a creative marketing campaign, which would be a pop art installation featuring 5 20 to 30 foot inflatable flowers. These flowers are illuminated from within and are actually 20 to 30 feet in size. So they're very large flowers. And the idea is to basically spread the idea of hope coming back with springtime. And they are going to name each flower representing the mission of their group: unity, love, health, blossom, inspire, and joy. And they're hoping to basically engage visitors to different communities to walk around and find the 5 flowers. They're also going to provide an inflatable backdrop to take your picture while there, and give away yard signs to people if they want to spread the mission of hope. They're also going to be using this to raise $40,000 to support the food bank. And they would basically promote this online through their website and through basically communities and through their student marketing to raise this money and get people to come to these communities. So let me show you where they hope to go. They hope to go to Beechwood. It'll be located at Beechwood High School, then Mayfield at Mayfield High School, then come to us April 1st through 8th. And they put this down as downtown Chagrin Falls, Riverside, and Triangle Park. That is their application. This, I would like you to note, is the week of Easter. So we would have them over Easter week. Then they'll go to Cuyahoga Falls and be located in Highbridge Glens Park, then Lakewood in 3 city parks in Lakewood, and then they'll end their presentation at downtown Cleveland at the Cleveland Public Library. Here, just so you can get a visual on this, prepare to be amazed. Okay, these are some big flowers. Here is when the project was in New York City, or when these flowers were in New York City. And this is a blogger that basically walked in and found the flowers. And I think it was an interesting blog because it explained her experience of finding a giant flower and wondering, what on earth is this? And then she said that she could read the sign and it told her where the other flowers were located, and that she basically made a point of coming back to the area and traveling around to find all 5 flowers. So these are the flowers as they were displayed in New York. I don't know how long they were there, but for our village, they would only be here for a week in April before they would move on. I do think that, so there you go. This guy, like he's a sitting down flower. At the Arts Commission, I'm gonna stop my screen share now. There's also a little TV clip I'm happy to send to you guys if you wanna see that. That was when they were in Manhattan, but I won't belabor the point. Let me hit my screen share now and go back to this. So Arts Commission was in favor of this because we're excited that Chagrin Falls is on the list of a place in the area that they think is a good place to display public art. And we're also excited about the idea of a regional program that would promote people to come to our town that we wouldn't be in charge of. So both of those things made us think that this would be a good thing, and it's 1 week, and it would be a good thing, and it is a nice idea. I think we're all, after a year full of quarantine and staying inside our houses, going to be eager to get outside and walk around in April. I do think that the concerns that were brought up at Arts Commission were scale, because they're very large and we're very small, and placement, and making sure that it's done in a attractive manner. So we approved it to come to the town, but basically thought that we should say this group needs to work with administration to say where these things will be located and how they'll be located. They will be professionally installed. The signage will meet all of our requirements. And as I said, they'd only be here for a Thursday to Thursday, April 1st through April 8th. So one suggestion that we had was that we might approach, instead of having them all in the parks, which was the initial idea, which seems like a kind of overwhelming idea, would be that maybe we approach some of our Arts Commission member organizations like the Little Theater or the Historical Society, and see if any of them would be interested in hosting a flower, which might make people walk around town more if they go to the different locations. So those are my thoughts. I'm sure you guys have questions, but I'm happy to answer anything. I would like to see if we can get an opinion on this and whether we should approve this for the administration to start working with this group so that they can go ahead and know that we're okay to have them here, or if they look for someone else. Darren, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I really like it. I think we're all looking for a little color and something, different. Did you say these are illuminated? Will it be up and on all night?
They are illuminated. They are intending to keep them on all night. They went through the amount of electricity and everything. They don't basically take a lot of electric use. They do need access to electric outlets. I'm sure it's negotiable. I mean, they seem like, it's a student group. If there was an issue with residents and like, we don't want light in this area, I bet we could discuss that with them. But they are illuminated, which in some ways is nice for, people who come in the evening for restaurants. I don't know how great your pictures will be, but it's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could easily get 2 or 3 or even maybe 4 of them in Riverside Park. I mean,
I thought Yeah, I thought like one on that in front of where that Chagrin Hardware's wall would be like beautiful because, you know, it's such a great spot, you know, to take a picture. I love that brick wall. And that's probably one of the only places we could actually have some really tall item, you know. So, you know, I mean, I think we have freedom to work with them, but we do need to give them an answer on whether we'll allow this or not so they can get, you know, get their act together. So
I do like the idea of spreading them out a little bit so you can get some people to walk around. That's
yeah,
a good idea.
Yeah, this, oh, sorry, I was saying this hits all the stuff that I like. It encourages people to circulate through the downtown. It's supporting our businesses. It's supporting students and learning how to do marketing. And, you know, when you're 16, you have big ideas, and helping them, learning how to bring them to reality is kind of a big deal. And I'd love that we could support that. And it's, you know, not going to harm the grass because we can work through that.
And Aaron, you bring that point you pointed out to me, because I know you spoke to the gentleman running this program initially. Some of the students are in fact Chagrin students. This is, even though this is coming from Beechwood, this is part of our sharing trade program, where the students from Chagrin that are studying marketing, they go to the Beechwood program. So this is also Chagrin Falls students in this group. It's a regional program.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that appealed to me, Angie, on this, is the fact that it had a large educational component, and it was cooperation between the schools and the school districts, which, as we get more specialized in our education, is going to be required.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Hudson's not on the list.
Hudson is not on the list. It's true. It's us and Cuyahoga Falls and downtown Cleveland, and then a couple of high schools. So
Lakewood's very cool.
Oh, Lakewood too. Lakewood is very trendy. I think we want to be the East Side arts place. So I think.
I have a question. What is the policy for people using our parks for displays stuff? Does it go through council for approval, or is it something the mayor signs off on? I forget our actual process.
Well, in this
Are you asking me or asking? Yeah.
In this case, Jim, it came to me, and I kicked it over to council, to Aaron, and to Angie to see what they want to do, because this is something that's a little different than something we've done in the past. And as I said, I was supportive of it primarily because it was the educational component in the regional. So, I mean, I too don't know. We don't get a lot of requests to use the park beyond Blossom and the Art Festival. And those are kicked over to council, as you recall, to approve. I'm not aware of anyone else that's asked to use anything. I don't remember what that Saturday yoga program does, since it's been over a year since we've had that.
Yeah, council approved the yoga program, and when Molly has programs, she comes to us as well. Angie?
So just to that point, I wasn't going to bring this up in the interest of time, but just when we do events, they obviously go through parks and then to council, but we have gotten a staggering number of installation requests this year, of temporary installations. Like 4 or 5 things have come through where, you know, we want to do the story walks. Then Valley Arts Center wanted to put the yarn on the trees. And so now we have another thing that you're going to hear about in Shade Tree Report. And now this. So I do think that the Arts Commission or facilities or someone needs to look at how we want to handle temporary installations as opposed to events, because they don't fall neatly into any category. And I think we don't really have any kind of policy on what.
Well, that was my thought in kicking it over to council. Right. It wasn't clear. And, you know, if you have 52 temporary displays, you've got.
It's your whole year.
Whole year. Exactly. So I think you've got to be, you know, cognizant of that. And when we're replacing them, we'll do that in conjunction with the JCs and the Easter egg roll hunt.
Right.
Because we don't want base that they used for the Easter egg hunt as well. So we'll be aware of that, and we'll try to make it work for everybody. Hopefully we'll have a dry enough Easter, and you know, it can be felt that everything can go on as it has, but who knows?
I think the Arts Commission could explore what public art policy, like how we would do installation art policy for the parks, and then come back with.
Okay, I could pass it on to whatever committee would be appropriate for it. If we find out how other communities are looking at that, just it's something I'd love to know.
Yeah, we need some sort of like
procedure.
Help
just to-
people when people come.
Well, and
to
we're
us.
going to be doing this with holiday decorations anyway, next week in facilities, so, okay. All right, can I make a motion that we approve the Hope Blooms Ohio project for installation for April 1st through 8th in downtown Chagrin Falls?
Second.
Motion by DiBernardo, second by Rogoff. Roll call, please.
DiBernardo,
Aye.
Evans,
Aye.
Grube,
Aye.
Newell,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval.
Aye.
Okay. Anything else from Arts Commission?
Nope, that's it.
Board of Zoning Appeals, Mr. Rocky.
We have our next meeting tomorrow night at 7:30.
Cemetery Commission, I have no report for. Facilities and Services.
I would like to schedule a meeting. I sent an email out, but I didn't hear back from, since I have you both here. Would you be available for March 4th at 11 a.m. after the move to amend meeting?
Yes.
Nancy, yes, no?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's schedule our next meeting for March 4th at 11 a.m. We will be discussing park rules and holiday decorations with a goal to get that in place by May, so we can tell all our organizations our rules for holiday decorations in the park.
Excellent.
Love it. Okay.
Good.
Finance Committee is myself. We do have our Committee of the Whole meeting on Wednesday, the 24th at 7:00 p.m. and we will go through the budget with each of our department heads. I promise this will go viral. It'll be very exciting and I'm sure CNN will cover it.
Yeah.
Parks Commission.
Parks Commission will meet Wednesday, March 3rd at 8:30 in the morning by Zoom.
And then Planning and Zoning Commission.
And Planning and Zoning will meet on Monday, March 15th at 7 p.m. via Zoom.
Safety Committee.
We met last week to discuss, to meet with a representative from a company called Flock Secure. They do installations of license plate reading cameras. And it was under the recommendation of the mayor and the police chief that at this time, we don't really feel like it's that necessary, but we got a great briefing on it. We have a great understanding of how they can be used and how they can be implemented. So going forward, if we make that decision, we can.
Fantastic. Shade Tree Commission.
Shade Tree is actually going to have a virtual meeting in order to consider, they were referred a question for another temporary installation, which was sent to Parks for a floral display on a tree, and they want to know whether the tree will be hurt by this display. So if you're interested in that, tune in to our Zoom meeting. It is currently unscheduled, but you'll be seeing it on the upcoming meeting schedule.
Fantastic. Streets and Sidewalks.
No report tonight, except the presentation by the Watershed Partners, which I think was very valuable. And I hope we'll pursue that. We'll have a meeting shortly on that.
Perfect. And Utilities, Mr. Newell.
No report tonight, Madam President.
Fantastic. Report of the Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Jameson.
I have no report tonight, and I look forward to seeing everyone Wednesday for a budget presentation. Thank you.
Report of the Engineer.
No report, Madam President.
We're just flying through this here, friends. Report of the Police Chief.
Just briefly, we're working on hiring some part-time officers, so we've got that process going, got some applications in, and now we'll move on to interviews. Other than that, it's been quiet, so that's good.
Good news. Report of the Fire Chief, Mr. Zugan.
I don't have any report, but thanks, Darren, for that new title. I appreciate it. All is well in the fire department, so thank you.
And then we come to the point in our meeting where we open it to any members of the public who wish to speak to any matter. To address council, you will use the raise your hand function. You have to be in Zoom in order to address council because technology. So you can use the raise your hand function now, and we will call on people if anyone raises their hand. Going once, going twice. Okay.
One.
Oh, there we have one person. Okay.
Matthew, I'll move you over just a moment.
Okay, so for members of the public, we do have a 5-minute limit per person. When you begin talking, hold on, Mr. Cox. When you begin talking, we'll ask that you state your name and address for the record, and then 5 minutes. Go ahead. Give him a second to get unmuted and start his video.
Mr. Cox, if you're able to unmute yourself and start your video. Might have been a hand raised on accident. There he is. Wait, there he is.
Hello, go ahead. You're on mute still. Mr. Cox, we can't hear you. Mr. Cox, down in the bottom left corner of your screen, it should say mute. There's a little microphone. You're going to want to click that to unmute your microphone. Christy, can you send him a note to, the little boxy thing that can show up?
And Mr. Cox, if you are on a laptop, will you give us a thumbs up on your video? If you're on an iPad, give us a thumbs down so we can help you. I don't know that he can hear us.
Nope.
Rick also has his hand raised. Is that to the same issue or no?
I'm guessing, is that Rick Duty? And if it is, do we want to bring him in to speak and then we can sort out the technical issues with Mr. Cox in the interim? Since my shot in the dark is that it's to the same issue.
Yes, that's me. Sorry. Yes, it is. Can you see me?
Yeah, can you do your name and address for the record, please?
Sure. It's Rick Duty, DOODY. And my address is 38660 Hunting Hill, Chagrin Falls, 44022.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, on the issue we're discussing is, just lighting the falls. I mean, I think other than the practical reasons for the council to consider this, and I apologize first of all. I was kind of doing some lighting initially of the falls, and we did not do a good job at 17 River when we opened the restaurant and doing that. And I think we probably didn't light it right, and as a result, I think we might have created more of a problem than we certainly intended. But I think the intention for the city to light one of its certainly most valuable assets makes a lot of sense for many reasons. First of all, aesthetics. I think it's a beautiful falls, and it's something that I think the city should accentuate. It's probably one of your most special gifts of the city, and so lighting it makes sense to me. Secondly, I do think it's a safety issue. I have seen kids playing around the waterfall at night on top of the falls many times, and as I work there, and I just worry that somebody's going to fall off, hit their head on the way down, and I don't know if you can actually find them because it is dark at night, and if somebody was unconscious in the water below, and I really worry about that. And during the summer, how slippery all that rocks get with moss and everything else. And so it's really a twofold. I think it's a practical reason, first and foremost. And secondly, it's one of just, accentuating one of your greatest assets of the city, of the town. And I'm certainly willing to help and participate if you'd like me to, in trying to do.
Okay. I think, it's hard to see. Are you still talking? We may have lost
That's
you
all I
soon.
have.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to make
You're
sure. I
talking,
didn't want to
can't
cut you
hear
off.
I'm sorry.
And then Mr. Cox, go ahead.
No, I came to you because Mr. Duty couldn't come on to the Zoom call.
Okay,
I was just bridging the gap.
fantastic.
But that being said, I think what's going on, I've read in the paper, and I'm not a political guy, and I respect what you guys have done. This is my third meeting. I was on the last meeting. I was on the meeting where I spoke, but I'm not into politics. But I just believe that as Mr. Duty said, lighting the falls is a benefit to everyone. And if it upset a couple people because of the direction of the light, I think that all can be fixed.
We can certainly fix that.
Madam President, did we get Mr. Cox's address
Oh.
for the record?
Thank you. Sorry, Christy. Yeah, Mr. Cox, can you state your name and address for the record?
It's Matthew Cox, 9285 Winchester Valley. And there was something stated in the
Excuse me, what
or
city?
some newspaper
What
that
city?
I was
Mr.
Chesterland.
Cox, Mr. Cox, hold on. I need you to do the city as part of your address.
I
It's in
live
the
in
minute.
9285 Winchester Valley, Chesterland, Ohio.
Okay, thank
And
you.
I sent you a petition. I guess there was a problem with maybe like a fourth of the petition was Chagrin Falls, people that lived in Chagrin Falls. Well, when actuality, if you'd like me to get a petition for this, and I didn't think this was going to be argumentational, but that I would get 100% of the Chagrin Falls people that lived in Chagrin Falls to sign the petition, if that was what you were, thought was important.
Well, it would make sense that if you want to petition something in the village, that it's the residents that actually have to say on it.
Now, I disagree with that because I think the Chagrin Falls is a Ohio thing, not just Chagrin Falls. Let's not be selfish. Everybody in the whole city comes to Chagrin Falls to enjoy the falls.
Okay.
Yeah,
But there are those of us that live here and pay the taxes, and that's quite a difference.
No, I agree. Do you want me to get a petition going with just Chagrin Falls residents?
You can do whatever you want.
I don't want to get into a political debate about this. I just think it's a beautiful thing, as Mr. Duty said, and it's a natural resource that should be lit.
And we don't want to be argumentative. We love the
365
city.
days a year, 24 hours a day, like you guys said before. It only has to be lit like a portion of the night, not to disrupt anything.
so we did receive your petition. I shared that with council and the administration when it came through. We had a couple articles that were in the Chagrin Valley Times covering the topic. I'll be honest, I did not have residents reach out to me with excitement. I had a couple reach out to me with mild interest, but that was sort of a comment in passing. So from my perspective, without a lot of energy in the community around it, it seemed like something, because I was in that Facilities and Services Committee meeting where we said, unless we hear from the community that this is something they want, it didn't seem there was this huge push or imperative to necessarily pursue at this exact second.
I had a hard time hearing that. Could you repeat that, Madam President?
Yes, so the Facilities and Services Committee came to the conclusion that since we hadn't heard from a lot of residents with enthusiasm about the project, despite a couple articles in the paper, that it didn't seem it was like something necessary to immediately pursue. Ms. DiBernardo, you were part of that conversation.
Yeah, I just wanted we had a facilities and services meeting where we discussed this. And I think the primary findings there was an interest in considering lighting the falls for special events on a limited basis, that would be done by the village because we consider the falls to be parkland, but that we wouldn't really consider this until the bridge project was completed, because at that time, all that area is going to be torn up. So that was where we were at Facilities and Services, and we kind of decided that we need to wait and see what's happening with construction in that area and make a long-term decision about lighting the falls at that time. Did I represent that correctly? I know Nancy Rogoff is also on that
Yes.
committee as well.
Yes, thank you, Angie.
so that's sort of where we landed. We didn't really say no, we didn't really say yes, we just sort of said not right now. Do you have any other follow-up questions for us at this point?
Just asked, what is the timing?
To the bridge.
Rob, I'm gonna let you handle that one.
Bridge right now is proposed to bid out next year and probably construction 22 into 23.
Okay.
Mrs. Grube, as our 5 minutes for the speakers has ended, I am moving them to the attendee side of the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, you both. Thank you both so much for attending tonight. Feel free to reach out. We can discuss a little bit more if you'd like. But unless council has any other comments, we will take any other comments from the public if anyone else wants to raise their hand. Nope. Okay. And then on that note, does anyone have anything for miscellaneous? Okay, seeing none, I will remind council that we have the move to amend day, which we have by ordinance on, Christy, I don't have it on my calendar. It's on Thursday, March 4th at 9 a.m., correct?
Correct.
There we go. So that'll be done on Zoom and streaming to YouTube as per our virtual meetings. Any other miscellaneous items? Seeing none, thank you so much for coming tonight. We are adjourned at 7:51 p.m. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.